What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my Draftkings MMA picks for UFC Abu Dhabi. We have Robert Whittaker going against Reinier de Ridder. And yeah, looking forward to this card. Got an early start time, which I'm always a big fan of. Some really fun fights on this card. Yeah, for a fight night, this card is pretty stacked, I'd say. So yeah, looking forward to breaking it all down from a DraftKings perspective. Before we do so, of course, like, subscribe, leave me a comment. All three of those things go a very long way. And I do got to shout out Prize Picks here. Right now, if you go to Prize Picks, use code DFSBTN, you'll get $50 instantly into your Prize Picks account when you place your first $5 lineup. Whether it wins or loses, you'll get $50 instantly. Go check it out. Free money there. And with all that out of the way, I say we get into it. We're going to start with the fight doesn't go to decision odds here up top. We got Nikita Krylov going against Bogdan Guskov. The fight doesn't go to decision, sitting at minus 600. And yeah, this is a fight where I'm going to be just all over this week. You know, Nikita Krylov's a guy that has, finish upside early, and, same thing with Guskov. These guys typically don't get to the third round more often than not. Krylov's going to have some knockout power on the feet, but, the clear path here is going to be getting the fight down to the ground, where, many guys thus far have been able to kind of take down and control Guskov. So yeah, I think Krylov's live for a first or second round submission or TKO. And yeah, if Krylov does go out there and swings and stands and bangs with Guskov, like, Krylov could absolutely get knocked out. So yeah, both guys definitely in play here. I'm definitely on the Krylov side, though. Personally, it's like this guy has a clear path to victory, and if he uses it, I feel like he can just score a ton. So I like Krylov here, but Guskov, I can definitely see a path for him getting a knockout. Next, we have a fight that I don't know how to feel about this fight. Ibo Aslan going against Billy Elikana. Like, I kind of have a weird feeling that this fight's going to be kind of boring. This fight's going to maybe be a staring contest. And Aslan does have power, but Elikana does seem like a pretty durable guy. I can see this fight being kind of low volume and maybe even getting, extended. And if that's the case, I just don't think it's going to score all that well. If anything, maybe a shot on Elikana. He's 7,300. Maybe he has some potential wrestling upside. Maybe he has the better cardio down the stretch. But even that, it's not something I'm really in love with. So not a fight I'm super high on for this week, and I think there's a lot better options. Next, we got the main event, Robert Whittaker going against Reinier de Ridder. Another fight where I'm pretty much going to be all in here, especially at these price tags. Robert Whittaker, 8,400. I think he has knockout upside. De Ridder's been knocked out in both of his losses. Whittaker's going to have a massive striking advantage, a massive cardio advantage as well, and if he can stuff the takedowns, I think he's knocking out de Ridder really in any round, but could be early, could be late, but yeah, Whittaker's definitely in play. And on the flip side, de Ridder. I mean, de Ridder's going to be much bigger. He's going to have a 4-inch height advantage, a big reach advantage as well. He's going to be the much bigger guy in there. And if he can drag this fight down to the ground early, we could see de Ridder pull off an early submission, round 1, early round 2. So yeah, both guys are definitely in play. I personally lean the Whittaker side, but it's a main event I'm going to be heavily exposed to. And then we got I believe this is the opener for the prelims. It's Marcus Buchecha going against Martin Budai, minus 250 for the fight. Doesn't go to decision. And this is pretty much a one-sided fight I'm going to be targeting, and it's going to be the Buchecha side. I just think Buchecha is going to get takedowns here, and once he gets on top, I just don't think Budai is going to offer really anything off his back. The one time we did see Budai off his back, it wasn't great. It was in the Gazee fight. I think Buchecha can get on top, and Buchecha is a very high-level black belt, solid ground and pound as well. I like Buchecha at 9,100. Let's get to the core plays. Carlos Leal up top, 9,400. I like Leal here quite a bit. I mean, he's a madman. Leal's a madman. He's going to walk forward. He's going to eat one to give one. He's super tough. He's super durable. He's the younger guy by 10 years, if not more. Salikov says he's 41, but I think he's lying, and I think he's even older than that. I don't think Salikov's going to like the pressure. I don't think Salikov has the best durability these days, and I've never thought that Salikov had the best cardio, so I think Leal's going to march forward and try to take his head off, and I think he might take his head off early. So yeah, I like Leal quite a bit at 9,400. Robert Whittaker is the A side for me in the main event. I don't know. I just feel like it's a kind of a show me spot for de Ridder. Like, yeah, he went life and death with GM3 and got the win. He submitted Kevin Holland, who has no ground game, and then he beat Bo Nickel, but he beat Bo Nickel as like a plus 300 underdog, and now he's lined fairly closely against Robert Whitaker, who's only losing to top 5 middleweights like Israel Adesanya, Dricus du Plessis, Khamzat Chimaev. Could De Ridder come in here, take down Whitaker, and submit him in the first or second round? Sure, he could, but if this fight gets extended, it's heavily going to favor Whitaker. If Whitaker is able to stuff some of these takedowns, it's going to heavily favor Whitaker. So I definitely lean towards the Whitaker side. I'm not completely counting out De Ridder this week because I could absolutely see a path for him finishing. But if I had to pick one and lean one way, it's going to be the Robert Whitaker side at 8,400. Up next, we got Jose Ochoa, 8,200. Yeah, I like Ochoa here against Almabayev. He has all the finish upside, in my opinion. He has a sneaky submission game, and he has a lot of power on the feet. If it turns out Almabayev's not able to take down and hold down Ochoa, I think Almabayev's going to be in a lot of trouble. On the flip side, Almabayev probably does have some takedown upside, some control time upside, but I think Ochoa is going to be very tough to take down and even harder to hold down, and I just think he's going to have a significant striking advantage once this fight's on the feet. So I like Ochoa here at 8,200. Pretty solid price tag there for him. And then Nikita Krylov, who we talked about a little bit, 8,700. Guskov's been taken down, I believe, in every single fight in the UFC outside of the Zach Pauga fight, and his ground game just hasn't looked that great. I believe he's a brown belt, but it really doesn't look like it. I mean, we saw Ryan Spann get into dominant positions easily. We saw Volkan Oezdemir taking this guy down, hurting him and then subbing him. We saw Billy Elikana, of all people, taking him down and controlling him for half a round. So Nikita Krylov is a very high-level grappler, a very good wrestler. I think Krylov gets on top early and should be able to finish. I am worried about the durability of Krylov at this stage, coming off a knockout loss not too long ago, but the path is definitely there for him not to only win the fight, but score incredibly at 8,700. Getting into the GPP plays here, we got Marcus Buchecha, 9,100. I like Buchecha quite a bit this week. There are some unknowns. There are some red flags. Like if this fight does get extended, late second round, third round, it could get greasy. It could get sloppy, but I'm not even sure it gets that far. I think Buchecha should be able to get takedowns here, get on top, and I think a finish will present itself within the first, round and a half. So I like Buchecha here, 9,100. Damon Blackshear, 9,000. We talked about some guys on this card with a clear advantage, and the clear advantage here for Blackshear is on the mat against Davey Grant, who offensively, he definitely has some sneaky jiu-jitsu, but defensively, Davey Grant leaves a lot to be desired when it comes to the grappling, making mistakes, giving up dominant positions with ease, submission over position. I mean, if Blackshear gets on top of Davey Grant, I truly believe the fight will be over shortly after, but it all comes down to whether or not Blackshear wrestles. He hasn't wrestled in a couple fights, but I think he needs to bring that back here, and if he does, I think he submits Davey Grant early on. Bryce Mitchell, 8,300. This is another fight where you can definitely make cases for both sides here, Bryce Mitchell or Said Nurmagomedov, and I think both sides have some upside. Like with Bryce Mitchell, if Bryce Mitchell's winning this fight at 8,300, he's going to score a ton, because if he's winning this fight, that means he was able to take down Nurmagomedov. And it's not easy to hold down Nurmagomedov, right? So Nurmagomedov is going to get back up, and if Bryce Mitchell can take him back down, like that's going to equal a lot of takedowns. So if Bryce Mitchell is winning this fight, I can see him get 5, 6, 7, plus takedowns over the course of 15 minutes, maybe even getting a late finish if Nurmagomedov completely slows down. So yeah, Mitchell is definitely in play. I think his win condition is a pretty high decision with some takedowns mixed in. And then Stephen Nguyen, 9,200. I think Stephen Nguyen's going to be pretty low owned this week. I've heard a lot of people kind of crapping on the guy, and yeah, I get it. He's not the best fighter, but he's going against Muhammad Yahya, who's probably the worst fighter to ever step foot in the UFC. So although I don't think Stephen Nguyen's the best fighter in the world by any means, I think he does go out there, and I think he does finish Muhammad Yahya, and I do think Stephen Nguyen's going to be pretty low owned. So I'll be playing some Stephen Nguyen, not going to go crazy on it, but I think he does get Muhammad Yahya out of there. Getting into the live dogs, Said Nurmagomedov, 7,900. The way I envision a Nurmagomedov win is a finish. I think it's got to be a finish. I just really struggle to see Nurmagomedov winning a decision, because I do think Mitchell will be able to get takedowns here, and I do think Nurmagomedov will be on his back at times, but on the feet, Nurmagomedov has a lot of power. He has those spinning attacks. I think he's the better striker, and then he also has that very, very opportunistic submission game. So Mitchell's going to be wrestling, and Nurmagomedov is going to be attacking the neck the entire time, and if he snatches it up, at 7,900, it's probably going to be a pretty solid score. So yeah, I think this is a pretty good fight to target. Mitchell Nurmagomedov. I think Mitchell has the decision upside with takedowns, and I think Nurmagomedov has most of the finishing equity in the fight. Next, we got Reinier de Ridder, 7,800. Yeah, De Ridder, if he wins this fight at 7,800, he's going to score a ton. He's going to easily be on the optimal lineup, because if De Ridder is winning, I think it's going to be, and it's kind of got to be in the first round and a half, because I don't think De Ridder has good cardio at all. So if I'm envisioning a De Ridder win, I'm envisioning him taking down Whitaker, getting on top in the first round, and finding a submission at some point in the first round, round and a half. And if he does that, it's going to score very, very well at 7,800. So yeah, De Ridder is definitely in play. I'm on the Whitaker side personally, but I will have my fair share of De Ridder as well. Kind of a fight you want to split your exposure on, because I'd be pretty shocked if the main event did not end up on the optimal lineup, and I'd be very surprised if the main event went the full 25 minutes. Next, we got Tabitha Ricci, 7,600. Just a live dog. I don't think Ricci has a ton of upside by any means, but Ricci's been to a lot of close fights against some solid fighters, and although I do like Ribas to win the fight, I think Ribas is a little bit better of a striker, a little bit better of a grappler, a little bit better everywhere. Ricci can definitely make this competitive, and if she is able to pull off a win, a close decision, at 7,600, maybe she can mix in some takedowns here or there. Don't completely hate Ricci, because there's really not a ton of dogs I'm liking this week. So Ricci, I think she's worth a sprinkle if you're looking for a live dog, because I think the fight will play out pretty closely, and I do think it will go 15 minutes. And then Bogdan Guskov, 7,500. Like I said, this should be Krylov all day. It should be Krylov so easily, but if Krylov doesn't wrestle, Krylov could get knocked out. We saw what happened in the Reyes fight. He decided to strike with Reyes, and he got knocked out. If Krylov is coming in here, injured, he kind of looked off in his last fight. We could see Guskov knock him out. So I think it really comes down to how Krylov approaches this fight. If Krylov wants to stand and trade with Guskov, there's a chance that Guskov can absolutely win it. Guskov hits very hard. So yeah, Guskov is a live dog at 7,500. Pump plays, Davey Grant, 7,200. So not a ton stuck out for me this week for pump plays. I don't really like anything down here. And even Davey Grant I don't love. But the way Davey Grant will be live here is if Blackshear continues the whole thing of not wrestling. We haven't seen Blackshear wrestle in about 4 or 5 fights. So if he goes out there and strikes with Davey Grant, there's a lot of value on Davey Grant here at 7,200. I think Davey Grant's the better striker. Davey Grant has a lot of power. I don't think Damon Blackshear likes getting hit. So it really comes down to how Blackshear approaches this fight. Is Blackshear going to take the path of least resistance, or is he going to strike for 15 minutes and make this a lot harder on himself? So if Blackshear decides to strike like he did in the Alateng-Haley fight, I think Davey Grant is an extremely live dog and a really good pump play at 7,200. And then the fade for me is going to be Shara Magomedov, 9,600. Yeah, I think Shara wins. I'd actually be shocked if he lost. And I think he potentially even wins by knockout. But it's this guy, Shara, it took him 3 rounds to finish Antonio Tricoli. Marc-Andre Barrio, I'm really worried about the chin. But I kind of feel like Barrio can extend the fight a little bit, 2nd, 3rd round. And maybe Shara gets a late finish, something like that. But Shara's not going to wrestle. Shara's not really going to wow you with volume. I don't really think Shara's going to spark MAB in the first round. So I just think there's much better options. Like Carlos Leal is $200 cheaper. Stephen Wynn, who's 9,200, who I think is going to be a sneaky play this week. Buchecha, who has first round finish upside. Damon Blackshear has a huge grappling advantage. So yeah, I just think there's a lot better options this week than going up and getting Shara at 9,600. And there you guys have it. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys could like on your way out, subscribe to the channel. If you want more content or if you want to support me more, check out dfsbythenumbers.com. That's where you'll find all my betting and Draftkings content. You get the fighter stats, targets, projections, ownership projections, rankings, DFS article, and much, much more. Check it out on dfsbythenumbers.com. DFS article should be out today, Thursday. So, yeah, should be a fun card, early card. Hopefully everything goes well. Hopefully we can make some money. Best of luck for UFC Abu Dhabi. We'll talk to you soon. See you.